Hi folk, Michael here. Automating my rentals is crucial. It frees up time, it makes it less active and more passive. It definitely relieves the headache of having it like a job. I mean, who wants that, right, in terms of real estate? And most importantly, it allows for scaling. So without automation, I certainly would not have gone into real estate. And in this video right here, I'm going to share some of my own personal automation tips in a walkthrough of one of my short-term rental properties. I've been looking forward to this so much. So if you like this video, don't be shy. Subscribe if you want to see more. And so, without further ado.
One of the first things is to get something like this. This particular one here is a Yale lock. So we can kind of wake it up, we can lock it, or we can unlock it, etc. Right now it's locked, but you can unlock by putting in the code. This just really helps so that you're not basically going around everywhere with keys. And of course, it's talking to me. So of course, the beautiful thing with this lock is that you can basically set up an individual lock for the owner if you've got a rental arbitrage. Maybe you got a lock, or rather a code for yourself, a code for the property manager, or a code for cleaners, or a code for handyman, and then you get an email if you want, so you know when the cleaners arrive, you know when the handyman arrives, etc. So you can really check up on whether they've actually been to the house or not, or if they're saying that they're coming, let's say it's 11 in the morning, but they're showing up at 2 p.m, and they're saying it's taking forever to clean the place, but it's really not. They're only there at 2 o'clock. You can figure these things out. So again, this one here is a Yale lock, and it's basically coded, it's run by August. That's the system I'm using for this one, the remote system. But I tend to prefer remote lock, or LockState is the actual physical thing, and then remote lock is the online. But this is just very helpful because, again, you can use this and you can basically give the actual guests different codes. You can automate it through the apps, whether it's Airbnb, VRBO, etc., so that your guests get these codes and they change automatically with the next guest. So they only work for their particular stays. Let's say it's 3 p.m. on May 21st until 11 a.m. checkout on May 25th, let's say 4 days later. So they keep getting new codes, and it's really, really easy to do. You set it up. Yes, they can be a little more expensive initially. You got some batteries, but any good handyman will know how to fix it, how to set it up for you if you can't do it yourself. But this really automates your life, right? Because then you're not worried about lock boxes and keys and things like that. You can use lock boxes. I always recommend you have a lock box as well. Maybe 2 lock boxes, because you want to have extra conditions or extra robustness one after the other. So one lockbox for yourself and for the cleaners and for the maintenance, and then another lockbox for the actual guests. So that being said, this thing here is probably one of the best fixes you can do, right? It's having some kind of electronic Wi-Fi lock. You're going to need to do that for if you're having Airbnb, short-term rentals, things like that. I also use them in long-term rentals, but it's super helpful in short-term rentals. Now, again, you can use that can certainly work. Getting these actual things given to you, like these codes, they're super helpful to have them. You just don't spend much time. And again, that just gets around the issue of safety. So each person gets a new code, and if for some reason you have to kick them out, you can change the codes, etc. as well. So, you can also send codes, change codes from anywhere in the world. So if you have someone that you trust that's coming over, you can suddenly give them a new access key that only works temporarily, or you can make it more permanent. So it really does help. And you can see, you can set it up so you can see when they come in, when they're closing the door, etc. And you can do that for however number of doors you want. Now it gets expensive the more you have. And this, by the way, this is your system here for the Yale, right, for the Connect. So that just connects to the lock over here. This is a back lock for the back door, side door. This is a different lock. So this is just an electronic lock, not a Wi-Fi lock. So it's a very different system. And it does have batteries, but you have to kind of hard code into it, right? It can't be controlled electronically because it's not supposed to be for guests. Okay, so this one here, much cheaper lock. This was just a mistake that was done beforehand. So this is just this one lock here. And I have this in a lot of my properties as well. This particular, actually all my properties right now, currently. Speaking more of electronics, so I really like the Eero system to boost your Wi-Fi signal. I also like the Netgear's Nighthawk, the Nighthawk by Netgear down there, really good system. Nest, Google Nest Thermostat, brilliant. You can control it from anywhere in the world. Get the app, wonderful. You can sometimes get a cover if you don't want your guests to use it. I used to do that in the past, but then the problem there is, okay, they're not going to mess around with your system, that's great, but then they're going to be emailing you all the time to increase, decrease, and they'll leave some problems. Oh, we couldn't do it ourselves. So I've just left it like that. But you can put on the Eco, you can figure out, you can do on, turn it on and off, etc. You can do a lot of stuff remotely. I love remote. You want to automate as much as possible here. Now, in terms of the heating system, in this house, it was moved from gas to oil at some time in the past. Where are they? Right, so these are some of the radiators here, and they've got nice covers. So these are beautiful, old-fashioned, original heating system with the oil. It was gas, now it's oil, and it's all controlled from this Nest thermostat electronically, remotely. Now, what you can do is you can also add for cooling, I've added mini splits. Now, these are Fujitsu mini split systems, and they're both controlled over here on the wall by these Fujitsu remote controls, but you can also add, as I have done, some kind of Intesis system. So you might just be able to, if you peek around here, see this little icon. If I can actually get this thing in here to work. They can play ball with me. No, it can. Yes, it can't. Not so sure. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, you can see that little system in there, right? And there's a little white box, and there should be like kind of a light. Maybe we can see it this way. Well, it's not. You can probably see it through there. So that there in the background, it's all plugged in down there. And that I have, it's like an Intesis system, and it basically controls the mini split from afar. That's a separate system. You have to look up the particular Fujitsu, etc. But you can do those to remote control from anywhere in the world. But just to get back to that mini split system, so that's great when you've got an old home like this where you don't want to be cutting through, you know, multiple parts of and the walls are all either cement or rather cinder block, cement block, we would say in Ireland, or brick. It's going to be very expensive to rip that stuff up, right, and to put in an AC duct system throughout the house. So rather than that, you can save some money and do a mini split system. That being said, though, it is a lot more difficult when you've got short-term guests with something like this, because they're always messing it up, right, because they're getting confused. What you really want is just one centralized control, like a Nest that goes hot and cold. Here, it only does for the heat, for over there, for the actual oil radiators. Right, the original really warm radiators. It doesn't control the cooling, so they get confused. And up here they think, okay, this does heat and cool, but it's just for the mini splits. And of course, just like an AC system, you can only either have cold or hot. You can't have different temperatures in different rooms with the mini splits because there's only one exterior system, right? So that confuses a lot of the tenants, or a lot of the guests as well. So mini splits saves money when you're doing these renovations, maybe okay for long term. But when you're thinking about short term, you want to ask the question, can you do the duct? Can you do the air conditioning, central air conditioning? If you can, you just have less headaches. And that was one thing I wish I had done in here originally, was just to have the whole thing done with the air conditioning. But in this house, there's so many floors and it would have cost a lot more to do that. But it has led to some issues. That this one system here is the only cooling system for this ground floor, for this whole first floor. We have a living room. Again, you just want to have, you can see what we have in here. All right, TV is, nice flat screen, have Netflix on it, have Amazon Prime on it. Again, Prime, you can have as many as you want. Netflix, they usually limit it to 3, depending on the actual subscription. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's more.
Well guys, if you liked that real estate video and found my opinions useful, it is totally free to subscribe for more. And if you're not already a subscriber, it's as easy as smashing that subscribe bell notification button. It helps the algorithm and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, you guys, and best wishes for your real estate journey.